Hey, this is Justin Glazer. Just want to do a quick video on specifically channel selection for when you're running paid ads. So, what channel should you run on? Why should you run on those channels? And how do you make that decision? So, having worked at a couple growth marketing agencies and consulting directly with my clients, you kind of start to get a feel for this, having seen 50 plus businesses and what works and what doesn't work on channels. And so I thought I'd walk through sort of the framework I use and that I've seen other successful marketers use in terms of deciding what channel to run on, right? So some of the big platforms you have, LinkedIn, loads, LinkedIn ads, Google, Meta, TikTok, Snap, Pinterest. And you've got native networks, right? Like Taboola, other ones. So how do you decide what to start with? So the first question is, where does your audience live? So if you're a B2B brand and you're targeting CEOs, are they on TikTok? Probably not as likely. So you do audience research. You probably find LinkedIn and Google, maybe Meta, depending on who you're targeting. So really it's, where does your audience live? And then how can we get in front of them? So if they're actively searching for you, they're on Google, right? There's active intent there. If they are in the business world, it's more likely they're on LinkedIn. If you're in e-commerce and you're targeting specific demographics, Pinterest is 70% women. So maybe your female line, it makes more sense to do there. So the analysis kind of comes down to where your audience lives, um, uh, current platform costs. So what are the cost per clicks like? What kind of ROAS are people in your target or in the same industry as you getting on these platforms? And then you might weigh those because you might be choosing between Snap, Pinterest, and TikTok. You have to weigh those. Another thing is creative capacity. So if you have the ability to produce a ton of videos, you might want to be on TikTok because you'll be more competitive there, and it's such a native video intensive platform. Whereas you can get by on Meta or Snap with or Pinterest with, say, just single image ads, right? So understanding what your capacity is in terms of creating ads themselves might factor into your decision process, right? Um, that's sort of the high level thing, right? And so another consideration is budget. So if you have, say, 7,500 per month, you'll have the ability to be on more than one platform. But say you just want to test and you have a very low budget of, say, like $2,000 a month, you're probably not going to want to spread thin because you're not going to have enough data to make informed decisions across multiple platforms. So you'd want to just start with one. So say you're a B2B tech company, you might just start with LinkedIn ads because cost per clicks are high and you're not going to have enough data to decide what's working or not working unless you have enough budget there. So rather than split it, you're going to focus on one at a time. But if you have multiple, or rather the ability to be on multiple platforms because your budget is higher, then it might make sense to do that so long as you have the capacity to kind of monitor everything at once, right? So that's kind of at a high level of how channel selection works. So we're looking at, where's your audience live? What are the prices on these different platforms? Because they changed. Google ad costs were much cheaper 10 years ago than they are today. And it's a dynamic marketplace. And then the other one is creative capacity and then your budget. So looking at these four variables will give you a pretty good idea of where it makes sense to start testing channels. And then, of course, these are tests, right? So this is a starting point. You run through your tests. If it's working, great. If not, you can go back to the drawing board and look to see maybe it's other channel selection or it's tweaking within the current channels you've chose. So hope that was helpful.